It's Swing Day. Call this number back. I need $25 for this walk around sit down chair.
Had to carry that over.
We got to make it shorter.
Yeah, it is a little bit longer than what I remembered. Yeah, I'll take like 10 seconds off it. But anyway, so thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook and YouTube. Very special welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. This is episode 42. And hopefully, God willing, we have many more years to come. We just got done celebrating our 1 year at having been around the block podcast. And in the last 90 days, we've been able to reach 2.2 million people. We'll throw those metrics up there as we keep going. But collectively, we've been able to reach about 11 million people. And again, those are not people that are engaged through the whole episode, but one way or another has seen our podcast and seen what we're trying to do out here. So please don't forget to like and share our page with anyone who might be affected by alcoholism or drug addiction. At this pace, we hope to keep growing, continuing our mission to help destigmatize addiction and prove that not only your life won't be boring, but the best years are yet to come. Without any further ado, my name is Brooks Southard. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Quirky Cliche Name. We also have Christopher T. Ross on Facebook and Instagram at Christopher. And of course, everybody knows Bradley Nemo Sparks, our favorite content creator. You can find him on Linktree at Nemo Sparks, coming soon, nemosparks.com. And of course, our guest for episode 42, one of our good friends and longtime supporter have been around the block, Hailey Anderson. So how's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good. We already got comments coming up. We got good to see you all. Up, Danny Santos.
Danny?
So, so we're going to try and get our guest from last week rescheduled. We're looking at April because he's going to have a really good story. So unfortunately Mr. Nemo had to take his baby girl to get stitches last week. So we were just talking off stage. Sounds like she's recovering pretty good, but still.
Yeah.
It's a painful situation.
Life, man. Life be lifing.
Yeah. Life be life and hard as fuck sometimes. So. All right, got somebody shouting out to you, Hailey, Rachel Payne. Love you. Nice to see everyone. Alvin Jackson. So, how we doing tonight, Chris?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm just chilling. I've been busy, super busy.
Yeah, life be life, and you know.
What have you been doing, Chris?
I've been working a lot, and last week I drove to Bartlesville 2 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I've been moving and stuff like that and getting everything set up. I'm now running a sober living house. So now life is picking up.
Yeah. You'll be running a sober living house?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Just started it.
He's crying about a lot too.
How's Hailey doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I got to spend the day with my kids, so perfect day. And now
all right.
We're
hold on. We're gonna have to have you log out and log back in again. Your thing's doing what it did earlier. We have this happen almost every episode. So log out, hop back in. We'll get it. So
okay.
So Nemo.
What?
I see that you are about to start cutting hair at 50 Penn Place, man.
I'm already am.
Congratulations, brother.
Well, you come for your haircut?
I will soon.
Yes.
Who cut your hair last?
I had to get my cousin at Mr. 405's.
Gotcha.
So, are you still working for the waterproofing company, Nemo?
Yeah.
Okay. Just at night. So you're doing 2 jobs, and I still don't hear as much about how you're working so hard as Chris. That's cool.
He works harder than me.
Yeah, Nemo works probably harder than anybody I know. So, but all right, Miss Hailey, how are you?
Let's hear it.
I'm good. Is it better now, or is it?
Yes, we're not glitching. Okay.
Okay.
We're good. Yeah, and it's like I don't know if it's StreamYard or what it is, but like every other episode, we have we're good in the sound check room and stuff like that. Just as soon as they go on, it starts doing this glitchy stuff, and we've had to exclude an episode because of that historically. So, but we're trying not to do that.
How much time you got sober, Hailey?
My sober date is 7/19/2022.
Oh yeah, congratulations.
So almost 3 years.
Yeah. What was your drug of choice?
I think first of all, I started pills, and then after that, after I graduated high school, I started using meth.
You went from pills to meth. Are you talking about like pain pills?
I mean, it was always pills, more or less. And then, when I couldn't get a hold of pills, I started using meth. And, I think the first time I started using meth, it was done. Like, I was addicted from the first time. So
It was because you're withdrawing so bad, huh?
Exactly.
Oh.
I had a surgery when I was 17, and I got prescribed pain pills. And I always knew I had an addictive personality, but when I started using those pills, it was just it was done. Like, I had to get more.
Yeah, off the races, basically, right?
Exactly. I mean, of course, you start drinking in high school and stuff. I never really liked how alcohol made me feel, but I always knew I needed to escape my reality. You know what I mean? Of shit I was going through. So that's what I did. I think, like we all do. I mean, addicts and alcoholics, we need to escape our reality.
So your addiction started after the surgery. You didn't have any other, like, you weren't smoking weed and stuff before all that, or any other, or did it all just basically start then?
So I mean, when I was 16, I started drinking. But like I said, I didn't like really how that made me feel. But when I had a surgery when I was 17, and that really it really, when I started getting on those pills, I couldn't get off of them. And after, obviously, they ran out, I tried to locate them. My mom was on pain pills, so if she wouldn't give me them, I would steal them from her. And that's really how it started for me. When I graduated, I moved out of my parents' home, and I went to college. I started using meth with some of my friends, and it became an everyday thing. Like, I have to get my fix. I have to get my fix. In any way possible, I would get what I needed to get. That being said, I dropped out of college, after, and I lied to my entire family. Of course, my sisters knew what I was doing. I have 2 older sisters, and they would tell my parents, and my parents didn't believe them. Hailey would never do anything like this, it's stuff like that.
How many siblings do you have?
But of course, I did, and I was a good liar. I was good at covering up everything I was doing. But eventually, they found out, and they sent me to my first rehab. And it was really a detox center. But as soon as I came back, I started using again. I was using in the household. So, I mean, I felt bad for that, but then I really didn't, because, like, I would lie to my parents and, like, think that I really thought that they didn't know, but they did. Let's see here. I got pregnant.
You grew up in a smaller town, right? And then you say Alex, Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And how many siblings do you have?
Yeah. I have 2 older sisters. I grew up on a farm in Alex. It was a regular situation. My parents fought some, so but both my parents were in the home. My dad worked. My mom stayed at home with us. So it was, a regular situation growing up, I would say.
I got a question. How far away is Alex from Oklahoma City?
It's about 50 minutes.
Okay.
You said sound by
So
Chickasha,
it's
right?
a very rural community. Yeah, it's about 10 minutes away from Chickasha.
So at this age,
let's see.
did you realize you had a problem?
I would say that I did, but I was in denial. You know what I mean? Like I thought honestly I could quit it in any time. But then every time I've been to rehab several different times. And every time I would come back and be in a toxic living environment, because living with my mom, it wasn't the easiest thing in the world. She wasn't the easiest person to deal with. So I would always come back to that situation and something would happen traumatically to me. It might not have been traumatic to everyone else, but and I would start using again. And that was my crutch. You know, I would just I would use for a while and then I would stop. Um and I would think I would be okay and trying to, fix everything myself. I never reached out for any help, anyone other than my family. And they didn't understand what I was going through because they weren't addicts or alcoholics or anything like that. They didn't understand. I think for me, until
Well, you said
until this last time I tried to get sober.
your mother was on pain pills, right? Your
Yeah,
mother,
so my mom my mom had a autoimmune disorder and she was on pain pills for a very, very long time. And I found out I had an autoimmune disorder as well when I was 19. And so I was prescribed pain pills for a very, very long time. I thought that in my addicted brain that it was okay because they were prescribed. I wasn't addicted because they were prescribed. Um, and all of this, still when I would obviously take all my prescription in 10 days for 30 days, I would go get something else, I would, go get meth or go get Coke or, anything else because I had to escape. I had to numb myself so I wasn't feeling sad or depressed or, all the feelings that we don't want to feel, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a struggle. I'll be honest. Obviously, it's still a struggle to this day. But I have all of the tools that I need to stay sober. Not that it's not hard. Life on life's terms is hard, but anyway, let's see here. What else do I want to say?
So you said you had several stays in like detox and rehab and stuff.
Yeah. So I went to detox for the first time. I came back. I started using again. My parents, seeing the things that I was doing, they sent me to Texas for a year-long program. I manipulated my mother into letting me come back. I came back and I got pregnant. I was sober the entire time I was pregnant. I was 19 years old.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
No, there's a major latency issue going on, so it's like.
Yeah. I was 19 years old when I got pregnant with my daughter. I stayed sober for several years. I got pregnant. I came back from the rehab. I got pregnant. I had my daughter, and then I got pregnant again with my son. I was sober for about 5 years. Is my screen skipping?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you want me to exit out?
Do you guys want to try that again, or
we can try it again, man?
Okay. Yeah. Try next out. Come back in. We'll see what that does. So yeah, we need to definitely start doing this in person more. Is my takeaway. Yeah.
Well, there's a major latency issue going on.
Yeah.
Like where I'm talking to you right now and you're automatically hearing me, when I talk to her, it takes her about 5 seconds to get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that might be her network stuff. I don't know. So
I never know if I'm talking to Chris. I don't know if his shit works because he don't talk.
I got really good internet now. So
yeah, you got that sober house internet.
I thought I had good internet, but apparently not.
Hey, are you logged? One question: are you logged in 2.2.4? Or are you logged into 5G on your computer? Because if you what you want to be logged in is 5G. I mean 5.
Let me look.
Because if the 2.4, that's one of the things that's killing me. Yep. It should probably log into 2.4.
It will be in person next week, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll be good. It's fine. You know, it's all good, man. Yeah. Desiree says her network's ready. Chris is always quiet. We know that.
Who said that?
Danny Santos.
Hello, Danny. Danny Santos.
This is the clearest I think you've ever looked, Chris.
You say what?
Yeah.
This is the clearest you ever looked.
Well, man, I've just been trying to figure things out more and more and more, and it seems like that things are working a lot better. Even though I cracked my computer screen.
Yeah, I can tell. You got a big old split down. I'm just playing.
Man, I can't wait till we do it in person. I really think that it makes the episodes awesome, and
Well, it's much more personable. I mean, this is personable and stuff, but you know, we're kind of at the mercy of the network sometimes.
We're really at the mercy of the network, and I mean, did we see this problem when we came in before we logged on?
No, that's the thing. Is like when we were doing that sound check and stuff, she was perfectly fine. So. Okay, let's try this again. I'm gonna give her just a second for her camera to catch up, no matter to stage. All right, I think we're back.
I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's cool. Yeah, it's. I mean, it is what it is, man. We're.
Did you log into the 5G?
Yes, I did.
We're gonna start meeting back in person more anyway.
Yeah, and we'll have you back on. Like I said, we still haven't cycled back around to our other guests that we're gonna have back on, so we'll get there. You know, Susie said Fetterman said come to Pittsburgh. We'll do it in person. Are you gonna fly us out, Susie? I'm just wondering.
You definitely come. I love Pittsburgh.
All right. So where do we leave off? Come on, let's go.
Okay, so I left off. Okay, so I had my first child when I was 19. And I did not use for, I got sober for her. I thought she saved my life, and which she did. But I decided to get sober for her. At that time, that was enough for me. Obviously, knowing what I know now, it wasn't. But anyway, and then I got pregnant at 21 with my son, and I stayed sober till my daughter was about 5, and my son was 3.5, and I started using again. I think it was, and at this entire time we were still living with my parents.
So I get a question. Did the progression? I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, did the progression? Did you just jump right back in, or was it?
Oh no.
Okay.
What was that?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I yeah, the connection's bad. I didn't just jump right back in. I was, at that time I was a full-time mom. So
yeah,
I decided which this is rationalizing in my brain. I decided if I was going to use, I wasn't going to use around my kids. I wasn't going to use in the same house as my kids, blah, 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 all of those things. That was how I was rationalizing it. And that's how I made it okay in my mind. But so I would just use, every so often, maybe once every couple weeks. Um, it it wasn't as bad as it was before. And I think that kind of progression just that's what carried me through all of these years. Like I would stop using for an amount of time. I would start using again. I was very good at hiding it, because I would make, if I was doing uppers, I would make myself go to sleep so no one would notice that I wasn't that I was up. I would have all of these things in my toxic tool belt that I would do so I wouldn't so no one would notice that I was using it again. Obviously, it became it became apparent to my parents when, I would have mood swings or stuff like that, you know what I mean? And they would obviously notice. Um, but mind you, this entire time I might have stopped using meth, but I always had a prescription for pain pills. Always, because of this autoimmune disorder I had. So I had chronic pain that I dealt with. My addiction was saying it's okay that you have a prescription for these pills. It's okay that you take these pills if you take them prescribed. But I was addicted to them the entire time. So, and when I would run out, like I said, I would my mom would give me hers or I would steal them from her. Either or. Not, that's not something I'm proud of, but that's what I did. Um I think, let's see here. This is really how my entire addiction has gone. I would always, throughout the years, I would always go back to it. I didn't know what to do to stay completely clean. Um,
But you never got off the pills
I,
throughout
I
that whole
just,
time.
No, no. And see that's that in my brain, this is how I'm telling the story, in my brain, I was clean because I wasn't using illegal substances. But I wasn't clean because I was still using those pain pills. And even though they were prescribed, even though I might have been taken, as I aged, I was taking them as prescribed, but I was still addicted to them. Like I thought I couldn't live without them. So obviously I was addicted. Um, yeah.
I got a question.
It,
So when
it,
did you?
I have, go ahead.
Oh, when did you first experience withdrawals from doing the pills?
Um, I think I took so many that I took them every day. So every morning when I would wake up, I would have withdrawals. I would have to take a pill or I would be withdrawing. I would be hurting from it every single day. It was like that. So, and starting at such a young age with the pills, I, my body was metabolized to those pills. So it was hell coming off of pills.
yeah.
It was worse than meth could have ever thought about. It was way bad. So yeah, withdrawing from the pills was way harder than withdrawing from meth could have ever been.
It's tough.
So, so you started using pills at say 17, right? And then, so how long did that progress for? Because, like I said, I'm trying to follow
Yeah.
a timeline here. I know that. So you had first kid at 19, second one 21. When did you first start realizing? Because I know you said you did the rehab stays and stuff like that. When did you first realize for yourself that maybe you needed to get some help for your problems?
For myself, and then I wasn't told to, probably at 26 or 27.
Okay. And you got sober 3 years ago, right? So
When I yes. Yeah, so I was 34 when I got sober. But it took me 10 years or so to stay, to actually get that idea in my brain that I can get sober and stay sober. I never had a problem like getting sober and being gung ho for the first month or so. But after that, I would start hurting. And in my mind, you're hurting, do something for it. So that's why I would eventually go back to the doctor and get a prescription for pain pills.
Did you ever go down the
And
methadone?
I think as my addiction.
Or Suboxone?
So when I first got sober this time, I was on Suboxone for a while. When I was in rehab, I was on Suboxone, and that helped a lot. I'm not on it anymore, but I was for while I was in rehab, and that helped. But I felt like that was another crutch as well. And I'm not saying that it is for everybody. It just was for me because it also it altered my mind as well, just like the pain pills did. So
no, it is
yeah.
a crutch.
yeah, I 100% agree with that.
It definitely, yeah.
You're definitely switching.
It was for me.
So
Exactly. And
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. You go ahead. It's fine.
No, you good. Yeah, no, go ahead. There's quite a bit of latency, so yeah, you're not catching my questions right off the bat. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say something about the Suboxone. Like it helped while it helped, but I knew this time when I got sober that I wanted to be clean sober. I wanted to be sober from everything and not have another crutch that I was using something for,
So somebody or a couple people were asking this: what pain pills were you taking? Somebody asked what were you taking? Roxy 30s. Other one just asking what kind of pain pills were you on? They were asking.
Oh, okay. I was on Norco 10s for a long time, and also I would take morphine as well.
Yeah, I went down a path of like whenever I was out there doing stuff like that, I was on Opanas, Oxycontin, Roxy's, Dilaudid. I went all the way down and did so much that I didn't think I had an issue until I kept getting arrested.
See, Dilaudid never did it for me, man. It was
Yeah.
always morphine. Like was the thing to shoot up back in the day. I really like that. We had somebody also comment. Kirsty Blake said, almost off subs for 10 years. Can't feel 100% sober. It makes a huge difference. And then Ryan,
and I think she commented on a Suboxone post earlier of mine. And I just want to, guys, I know that we all go through our own journeys and everything. When I talk about Suboxone, it's coming from experience. It's never like me being judgmental on some people, So me personally, I think Suboxone is a good tool if you use it for detox. So if it's for like 7 to 14 days and then, helping them wean off the harder stuff, then yes. But swapping one addiction for the other, which I've done multiple times. I did it with methadone twice, and I did it with Suboxone twice. That's exactly what you're doing. And I get a lot of messages from people who are on Suboxone. So, and it's always they're ready to come off. You know, they've been on it for 10, 20 years, and they want to come off. They really hate that numb feeling that, you know, they don't feel no joy, they don't feel no peace. It's just like, you know, and so my heart breaks for that. You know, I'm not like pointing my finger at them and going, "Oh, you're on Suboxone. You're still an addict. You're such a horrible person." That's not the case. My heart breaks for them because I know the hell that they're in. Even though a lot of times I would lie to myself, especially when I was on methadone and Suboxone, or either or, I would, you know, try to convince you that I was sober. You know, like I'm 100% sober. I'm doing great. But the truth is, you close down that methadone clinic, and I can't show up the next day. I'm gonna show you how sober I really am. Or you take away my Suboxone prescription, and you know I don't got that pill the next day. I'm gonna show you how sober I really am.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be doing whatever I can to change the way I think and feel, because I don't like withdrawing off this stuff. And that's what. So basically, what I did is I switched drug dealers from the streets to the pharmacist, and I was paying that Suboxone doctor, you know, and getting my prescription through Suboxone, and it was just so. I'm not. Whenever I say that, that's why I'm totally against it. I'm not for Matt, and that's why when I did this podcast, I told him I don't want to bring people on who are on Matt, because I can't represent that. It's to me, it's not sobriety. It's not. And but everybody has their own journey, and if your journey is to go from opiates to Suboxone for a little while and then get sober, then that's just what that's what it is, you know. But I won't promote it as being clean and sober.
That's absolutely true, because I'm the exact same way. I don't the facility I work at, they don't do Matt. The house I'm at, we do not allow Matt. It's just something that I personally don't think that is, to me, it didn't help me. It made me, I would ended up start trading it for stuff. So I know how I am, and I know that I was just trying to do whatever. I was trying to, like, exactly what you said. I was doing anything to make myself feel different. Like, it didn't matter. Like, for like a week it worked, and then it was trading it for other things, and that's exactly what happened.
Ryan and Kirsty, I just want to say I'm praying for you. Just don't give up. If you really want to get off of it, you will. You know, my advice would be talk to your doctor. You know, have them make out a plan, start weaning yourself off. But you know, do it. That all there is to it. Just do it. You know.
Yeah.
And personally, when I was on Suboxone, I was snorting them. I was on the Subutex. I was snorting those, shooting them. You know, I just my addict brain doesn't do well with drugs. I mean, I'm gonna do them to the max. Ryan said he went to jail for 40 days and then got out and chose not to take subs anymore. That's the only way I could quit subs, but it was a blessing. And Ryan, okay,
yeah,
that's the best detox there is, guys. Is jail.
Well, I said I couldn't afford to do the methadone clinic. That's kind of how mine come off of it. But, you know, we've talked about that before, man. And, dude, 23 days, the hardest withdrawals I ever went through in my life. It sucked at the time, but, you know, like what Ryan said, man, it was a blessing in the long run. And when I was done with that, I was like, okay, I get it now. I'm never touching that shit again. So it took what it took, you know. So, Hailey, so where are you at? Okay, so you get sober this last time. Did you do it through rehab? You said you went to Landmark a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, so I think this last time that I got sober, I lost my dad. I went to rehab, and I came back. My mom was still living at the time. I stayed sober, and then she died. They died 2 months apart. So having had my parents, they're helping me raise my children all of these years, and then not having them as a crutch as well, was definitely a wake up call for me. Like I've got to get sober for me. I can't just only do it for my kids this time. I got to do it for myself. So yes, I went to Landmark for the second time that year in 2022. I stayed 60 days. After I got out of Landmark, my sister came and picked me up, and she took me straight to Oxford House Sober Living in Edmond, where I stayed at that Oxford House for about a year and a half. Then I was moved to another Oxford House to help restructure it. I stayed there for about a year, until March of last year. March of last year, I decided that it was time for me to move out and try to do this on my own. So I have been in Norman since March of last year. And it, it's been going well. I don't think without the structure of sober living that I could have gotten sober and stayed sober. That structure and that accountability and being around people like me, that really, really helped my sobriety. And I, even though I don't live in Oxford anymore, I'm still in close contact, and I have made lifelong friends that I will have for the rest of my life in Oxford. So I'm a part of Oxford alumni now. And I still, it's less work, but I still go to some events and whatnot. But at the end of this month, my kids will be moving back in with me full time. So that's a big milestone for me. Having my kids with me full time and being with them on a daily basis, and me being able to show them that, I've changed and I can be the mom that they deserve.
How old are your kids?
17 and 15.
Oh wow, almost.
So they've been going, they've been on a journey with me the entire time, and they've been through just as much hell as I have.
So I remember talking to you. You go to school, correct?
So I'm starting school. I've applied and have been I will hopefully be accepted, but I'm going to go for substance abuse counseling at OSU at OKC. I really feel like it's not about the money or any kind of amount of money I can make. I think that will help me on my recovery journey to help other people like me. So I'll be starting in August.
That's awesome. Glad.
What do you do right now?
I work from home for a tech company. I'm a quality control supervisor.
Oh wow!
So I do that. I make pretty good money, but that's not what I want to do with my life.
I get it.
Yeah. Working the clinical side of things.
And now, having the sobriety, I have.
Oh, sorry.
It did it again. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say working the clinical side of things is pretty cool. Like especially whenever you're working at a facility or something like that.
Yeah. And that's what I want to do. I want to work in a rehab facility. I could probably try and get my PRSS, but right now for me, I think my working situation and me, having my kids full time at the end of this month, it will help me working from home, it helps. Like it gives me more ease of control on things. So, and I'll be going to school full time. So I'll have that time to do that. But yeah, I'm really excited about going to school and doing that. I think it'll really help in my recovery journey. And if I can help just one person, you know, that's all that matters.
Save a life.
So your plans going back to school in August, and then have you got any places you're looking at working at maybe?
No, not really. I mean, just at a rehab facility. That's really all I care about. I've thought about Catalyst because they work with women. Catalyst South. But you know, I really don't have a plan in mind on that front, just because I kind of just want to start school and, you know, start doing it. You know, I'm sure I'll get more of an idea when I get closer to finishing. But right now, I just know that I want to do that.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, back to what Chris was saying, man, I work on the administrative side of a rehab facility, and it's you know, hearing kind of what Chris told me off camera about some people passing. I mean, that's hard of that. That's the hard part about that. But the people that do, you know, it's a catch-22 sometimes on that. But I swore I'd never get into this business, and here I am, like absolutely loving it. It's very fulfilling.
It's like this with me, like because I am a PRSS and I do work with a lot of people. Like I'm actually the alumni coordinator, so I work with people after they graduate, and seeing people starting to get their lives back, people getting their kids, and
it's miraculous,
going to school and stuff like that. But you know, that's the good side of things that we see with working in recovery. But there's also bad sides of things where like people are relapsing and then people die, and that stuff is extremely sad. It's one of the things that it may, you know, because if you're soft-hearted, like, man, you feel that shit. It really it affects you in the long run. It's one of those things that whenever it happens, you know, it's like, what could I've done to and this is what goes through my head. I'm not saying it's for everyone, but I'm like, well, maybe if I would have reached out a little bit more. But I realize this with also working in the industry, you know, we can't save everyone, but we can try.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to ask Hailey a question, since a lot of people have been commenting on here, and we have opiate addicts and people who are currently on Suboxone. What advice, Hailey, would you give to those that are on Suboxone and are wanting to get cleaner? Maybe they just and don't know the next step to take. Like, I know you said you were on it, but you were only on it while you were in rehab. And I think if you would have stayed on it while you got out,
so
it would have been harder.
It would have been worse for me. Yeah, definitely. I think for me, because I knew that I liked that feeling, even though the feeling from the Suboxone wasn't the same. It was still a substance that was changing my thinking. My advice would be to try to definitely with your doctor's help, wean yourself off of it and try it that way. The longer you're on it, the more dependent you are on it. And we all know that because we're all used things before. And I say that to say, everyone has their own recovery journey, but if I would have used it for a long amount of time, it would have became a crutch for me, and it could have led me into other activities. It could have led me into using opiates again, or led me using meth again. And I was too afraid to do that. So I would just try to wean yourself off if you can, with a doctor's help, just because the longer you're on it, the more your body is dependent upon it.
And so, like, my advice would be also to get a support system. If your family ain't supportive, get you a recovery support system. There's a lot of people in a lot of towns, cities, recoveries everywhere. So you can find you a good support system. As long as you're honest about what you're going through, they'll be there for you as you're going through that. And and don't be afraid of the pain. That's what we've been running from our whole lives.
Yeah.
That's why we never wanted to get sober, because we didn't want to feel that pain.
Pain can be one of the best teachers there is,
It can. And that, and so be ready for it. Be ready that those withdrawals are going to hurt. Even if you wean yourself down to a low milligram, once you jump off, you're still going to feel something.
Oh, it's
I would just say, so expect that you're going to feel pain, but embrace that, because on the other side of that is it's a beautiful life.
What's freedom? Straight up.
Well, like what's crazy is like, whenever I first got sober, one of the things that actually kept me sober is I remember the withdrawals that I went through, and I did not ever want to go through that again. That's one of the things that made it like super, super like, hey, you don't want to go back down this road, because this road, that was a fucked up road that I went down. And I say it was bad. Like, man, I didn't eat for like almost 2.5 weeks. And I was like dying. Like I felt like I was dying.
What were you saying, Hailey?
And pain is scary, definitely. But my mom always used to say, when you feel pain, you're alive.
Yeah.
And you do, like, and now we want to live our lives in a way that we can feel pain and be okay. It's okay for us to feel pain. It's okay for us to feel sadness. It's okay for us to be depressed. We just need a support system to, when we feel that way, we can call somebody up and say, hey, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lonely. I need to talk to somebody. And for me, I have that. And this time I got sober, I've continued to have that support system. And that's what's kept me sober. I have a great support system, not only my family, but I have, all of these recovery people are in recovery, positive influences on my recovery.
So, what about the question?
You want to pop up the question, Chris?
Yeah, let's pop the question.
Let's do this.
Okay, question for our guest. If you could do anything and money wasn't an issue, what would you do? And you can't say travel the world. There was a asterisk with that, though. I think it was like you could travel the world if it was to help other people, basically, is what I understood the question to be. So if you could do anything and money wasn't an issue, what would you do?
This is probably really corny of me to say this, but I would open a rehab and a chain of sober livings for people, no matter if they had insurance or not. I would accept anyone needing to get help. That's what I want to do with my life. So that's what I would do. It might be corny, but that's what I would do.
Well, that's the whole goal of recovery, is helping others.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard for people to get into rehab with no insurance. And sometimes people don't know how to get on Sooner Care or whatever. Sometimes it's hard for people. So I would accept anyone.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to agree with you. Like Alvin agrees too, not corny at all. That's you helping others and saving lives. No such thing as corny. And I agree with that 100%. So, and your question for the next guest, I've already got it written down because I asked you this off camera. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be and why? So that's a really good question. You want to answer that question first, Chris?
Yes. I would probably tell myself to just continue playing sports and enjoying your life like I normally did before I ever did anything. Like I feel like that. But I also feel like that everything that happened to me in the past is like a part of my story. So it's kind of, I enjoyed life a lot when I was younger, but now I look back at what I went through, and it's one of the things that makes me who I am.
Oh yeah. How would you answer that question, Haley?
I think I agree with Chris on the fact that I really wouldn't change my use of anything because it shaped me to who I am today. But I would tell myself to keep going, to never give up, because so many times I gave up. I gave up on myself. I would just tell myself to never give up. You're worth it.
Nemo?
I always struggle with this question because it's like if I go back in time, and tell my younger self, hey, don't do this, don't do that, I'm going to make other new mistakes, and probably not to the severity that I did, how bad I effed up my life. But I would say for me, if I go back and talk to my younger self, I would tell myself that you do have a purpose. You're not here for no reason. And I truly believe that your destiny is already mapped out for you so long as you follow God's will for your life. You can go a different route if you choose, and that's the thing. You can choose, but you do have a purpose, and it is beautiful. And it doesn't involve, riches and, not the kind of monetary riches that the world looks at, but so yeah, that's what I would tell myself because I think I felt hopeless when I was younger. So for me, it was, I didn't feel loved or I felt, and drugs gave me that. They gave me a sense of purpose. I had something that I could wake up to every day. Something that was, even though it was false, but it's for me, it worked temporarily. Till it didn't.
For me, man, I'm gonna piggyback a little bit on like what Nemo said. The thing is, and also what Chris said, man. I would not be who I am now. I would not have the understanding of myself, my relationship with God, had I not gone through the adversity that I went through as a young man. Yeah, I mean, I had a promising sports career in baseball and all that stuff, but the bottom line is yeah, like I wouldn't be who I am now, and I wouldn't have the appreciation for life and the relationships I have with my friends and my daughter and my family now. Had I not gone through that, I think what I would go back and tell my younger self is trust the process. Things aren't always going to be like this. You're going through this for a reason, maybe. And I know it hurts now, but however, that's what's going to shape you into being a person with integrity in the future. It may take many years, but it is what it is. So, I think that's what I would say. So before you do your shout outs, Nemo, I want to say we got a good guest next week also for you guys to turn into episode 43. It's gonna be Rick Sennett. If you guys have familiar with the Oklahoma Save the Monarch license tags, that's the designer behind that. He does murals all over Oklahoma. It's gonna be quite a treat. So you want to go and do your show?
We'll be live in person, guys.
We're gonna be doing it in the studio, and I say studio. It's gonna look like a studio. It'll feel like a studio. That's all that matters. It's gonna look like a studio. So you want to do your shout outs, Nemo?
Yeah. So guys, thank you for tuning in and commenting and hitting that like button, share button. We do appreciate the support. As always, Danny Santos, Alvin Jackson, Rachel Payne, Valerie Oberly, Ryan Keith Reed. I say his full name because we have a friend named Ryan Reed also. So Ryan's been watching the whole time. Jeremy Bomar, And I'm going to be on Jeremy Bomar's podcast telling my testimony on March 5th.
Okay.
At 8 p.m. So
what day is that?
I'll post it on my wall tomorrow.
Wednesday. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Chris Hennessy, Holly Holland, Cut Singer, Susie Fetterman, Stone Cat's Adventures, Desiree Laney, let's see, Marcus Newman, John Timmons, shout out, what's up, Izzy? Israel, let's see, Brandy Airy, what's up? Jerry Atkins, Keith Labster, Banjo Cliff, what's up, Banjo? Linda Del Pillar, Dustin Gatch, Kirsty Blake, and I think
we got one more at the bottom. We got Kelly Anderson. I think you mentioned her. We got Brett Windsor. We already did. Yeah, Rachel Payne. So
yeah,
I do want to say something after you get done.
One more, Dakota Burwell.
So I really want to. William Mullins is one of the guys he always tunes in.
Who's that?
William Mullins.
Oh yeah.
He always tunes in, man. He's kind of going through. He's having a difficult time right now, man. Keep that guy in your prayers.
Yeah, cancer, guys, thoughts. Lift him up in your prayers. Drew Reyes in the hospital right now. What's up? Hopefully, my last surgery. Man, I didn't know you was back in the hospital, brother.
I hope you get healed, Drew.
Shout out, Drew. All right, y'all.
So, man, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been episode 42, and like I said, we're trying to get bigger and better, and we've gotten pretty damn big just in the year with this whole thing. Man, if you guys know anybody that is affected by addiction, man, that's the whole thing. We're trying to destigmatize this. We made this very clear, but there's no monopoly on recovery, man. Whatever works for you works for you. Your own journey is your own journey. That's part of the deal. Like what Nemo was saying earlier, it's not going to look like any of our journeys. You got to figure that out. You got to figure that out with your higher power as to what your recovery looks like. Oh, hi, little one. She's recovering too.
She's been eating cake.
She's been eating cake. Okay, so that's the healing factor of stitches.
I'll take her binky out though, but yeah.
Hi, sweetie.
Say hi.
Hailey,
all right, guys.
I really appreciate you coming on the podcast tonight. I really do.
Thank you so much, Hailey. This is really good. Well, like I said, hopefully coming up, we won't have a latency issue when we're all in the studio. We'd like to have you back on at some point, just kind of get an update of where you're at and stuff. So, man, thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you for making Been Around the Block what it is. And it's been episode 42. We'll see you guys next week. So let me bust out that new. We're not going to do. We're just going to do that's fine. We'll figure. We got to come up with more material. Yeah, something new. So.
Say bye.
Okay.
You want to say bye? All right, y'all. I'm out.
All right, man.
Love you guys.